This is a story about one of my patients. Let's call her Priya. She was 46 when she first came to see me. She had been struggling for almost 2 years by that point. Broken sleep, waking at 2 a.m. every single night and lying there until morning. Brain fog bad enough that she had started making errors at work she had never made in 15 years. Hot flashes that interrupted meetings. Mood swings she described as feeling like someone else had taken over her body. And her marriage, quietly, slowly, was coming under a strain that neither she nor her husband quite knew how to name. She had seen 2 doctors before me. Both had said the very same thing. Hormones are risky. Let's wait and see. Nobody told her what she was waiting through. When she sat down in my clinic, she'd almost spent weeks reading things on the internet. The first thing she said to me was, "Doctor, I don't want to take hormones. My mother had breast cancer, and I've read that hormone replacement therapy kills you." I asked her, "Where did you read that?" She said, "A study from 2002. This video is for every Priya watching right now, and it is for every husband, every son, every daughter watching a woman they love suffer every single day, wondering why nothing is ever being done." Let's start from the beginning. Before we talk about treatment, let's try and understand what is actually happening inside a woman's body when estrogen withdraws at perimenopause. Because I think most women, and to be very honest, most doctors dramatically underestimate the scale of it. You see, estrogen receptors are not confined to the uterus and the ovaries. They are everywhere. In the walls of your blood vessels, in your bone tissue, in your brain, in the hippocampus, in the prefrontal cortex, in the areas responsible for memory, sleep, mood, in the gut, in the heart, in the muscle, in the skin. So you see, when estrogen declines rapidly at perimenopause, and in some women it declines very rapidly, it is not a reproductive event. It is simultaneously withdrawing from 6 organ systems all at once. And what does that look like? In the heart and the blood vessels, the arterial protection that estrogen provided for decades begins to disappear. LDL rises, HDL falls, insulin resistance increases, central weight gain accelerates. What about the bone? Osteoclast activity speeds up, that's breaking of the bone. And without estrogen to restrain it, bone mineral density falls. Silently, no pain, no warning until one day, fracture happens. In the brain fog that Priya described is not psychological, it is neurochemical. Estrogen-dependent neurotransmitter systems lose their signals. Sleep architecture changes completely. Verbal memory is affected. Processing speed goes down dramatically. We would never tell a thyroid patient to simply endure the consequences of a low thyroid. We replace the hormone. We consider it very basic medicine. So why for decades have we told the perimenopausal women to simply endure? The answer to the question starts in 2002. In July 2002, the World Health Initiative trial published its results, and the headlines were immediate. Hormone replacement therapy causes breast cancer. Hormone replacement therapy causes heart disease. Hormones are dangerous. Women stopped their medications overnight. Doctors stopped prescribing. My own colleagues, good doctors, careful doctors, became almost allergic to the word hormones. And today, honestly, I understand why. The headlines were terrifying. But here is what nobody told you about that particular study. You see, the drug they tested, it was not even what we use today, not even remotely close. They used estrogen made from pregnant mares, horses, literally conjugated equine estrogen, extracted from the urine of pregnant horses, taken as a pill. Now, when you swallow any estrogen tablet, it has to pass through your liver before it gets into your bloodstream. And your liver, being the overachiever that it is, treats it as if it has something to process. It activates the clotting factors. It upregulates inflammatory proteins. That is where the stroke risk and the blood clot risk in the WHI data actually come from. Not from the estrogen itself, but from what the liver did to it on its way inside. And do you know who were the women in that study? Average age 63 years, 12 years past menopause, many with pre-existing cardiovascular disease already. Today we are talking about women in their 40s, just entering perimenopause, largely healthy. That is a completely different clinical situation. Now here is the part that still, honestly, frustrates me completely. The original WHI publication in 2002, in its own text, said that its findings did not apply to other formulations, other routes of administration, or younger women initiating therapy at menopausal onset. They said it themselves in that very paper of 2002. Problem is, the headlines had already gone out, and 20 years of unnecessary suffering followed. 85% of women in high-income countries today remain untreated for menopausal symptoms, largely because of a fear that the evolving evidence has significantly qualified. That is not a medical success. That is a public health failure. When we talk about menopausal hormone replacement therapy or menopausal hormone therapy being different from the WHI, people often assume we made one small adjustment. We actually didn't. Think of it this way. The WHI was testing a car with faulty brakes and the wrong fuel. We didn't change the fuel. We changed the entire car. So you see, two things changed, and both of them matter completely. Change one, the estrogen. We don't use horse estrogen anymore. We use bioidentical estradiol, structurally identical to the estrogen your own ovaries were producing naturally. And we deliver it through the skin, a patch, a gel, a spray. Why does that route matter so much? Because transdermal delivery bypasses the liver entirely. Remember I spoke about the liver? No first pass hepatic metabolism, no clotting factors being switched on. The estrogen goes directly into your bloodstreams, quietly, steadily, the way your ovaries used to deliver it all these years. No increased clot risk, no increased stroke risk, completely different safety profile. Now change two, the progesterone. The WHI used a synthetic progesterone called medroxyprogesterone acetate, MPA. It is not a progesterone. It was designed in the laboratory to mimic some of what progesterone does. The molecular structure is different, and as we know now, the breast cancer risk profile is very, very different. So here are two numbers I want you to remember. A large French study, the E3N cohort, followed 80,377 postmenopausal women and looked at breast cancer risk across different hormone combinations. Estrogen combined with synthetic progesterones like medroxyprogesterone acetate, relative risk 1.69, a 69% increased risk. On the other hand, estrogen combined with micronized progesterone, the bioidentical version, relative risk 1, 0 increase. Same estrogen, different progesterone. The difference between a 69% increased risk and no risk at all. This is not a minor refinement. The medicine that caused the fear in 2002 and the medicine that we prescribe today are not the same medicine. They share a name. That is approximately where the similarity completely ends. So now we know what we are actually talking about. Transdermal bioidentical estradiol, micronized progesterone started at the right time. What does the evidence show it does? Let's talk about the bone. Menopausal hormone replacement therapy reduces osteoporotic fracture risk from 9.2% to 6.2%. That's a 33% relative risk reduction. For Indian women, where osteoporosis is significantly underdiagnosed and undertreated, this is not a secondary benefit. It is primary prevention, started years before the fracture that nobody saw coming. Let's talk about the heart. This one I want to be careful about because precision matters here. Menopausal hormone replacement therapy is not a treatment for established cardiovascular disease, but for women starting within 10 years of menopause onset. Our 2024 systematic review and meta-analysis showed early initiation was associated with lower all-cause mortality, reduced cardiovascular events, and significant improvement in endothelial function. That means your risk of dying from any cause is lesser with hormone replacement therapy. The key word is timing. The window is the first 10 years. After that, the calculation changes, which is exactly why we should have the conversation in your 40s, not in your 60s. Now, let's talk about the brain, the Alzheimer's connection. This is where the benefit most doctors forget to even mention, and the one that I think families most need to hear. The Cachet country study followed 1,768 women and found that those who had started menopausal hormone therapy within 5 years of menopause had a 30% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. 30%. Women who started 5 or more years after menopause, no benefit. Possibly how? The brain, like the heart and the bone, benefits most when estrogen is replaced close to the point of withdrawal. Waiting too long and the window is going to close. I agree, this is observational data. The association is not proven, but it is consistent, replicated, and biologically plausible. It deserves definitely to be in our conversation today. I mentioned about all-cause mortality. A nationwide Danish cohort study, nearly 1 million women, published in the British Medical Journal in 2025, confirmed that systemic hormone replacement therapy started at the right time is associated with a reduced risk of dying from any cause. Not just from fractures, not just from cardiovascular events, from any cause. 1 million women. That's really not a small number by any standards. Now let's come back to Priya and to the sentence that kept her suffering for 2 years. My mother had breast cancer. I cannot take hormones. This is the fear I hear most often in my clinic, and it is the fear that in my experience causes the most unnecessary suffering because it is based on an assumption the actual data does not support. So again, back to data in 2024, researchers at the Institute of Cancer Study in London published a study in the British Journal of General Practice. They used one of the most sophisticated breast cancer risk prediction tools available to calculate actual numbers, real numbers for real women with real family histories. And here is what they found. So for a 50-year-old woman with strong family history of breast cancer, and strong meaning 2 first-degree relatives, mother and sister, both diagnosed, the cumulative risk of dying from breast cancer between age 50 and 80 without hormone replacement therapy was 3.2%. With 5 years of hormone replacement therapy, 3.5%. An absolute increase of 0.3% over 30 years. The point here? 3%. And that too for a woman whose mother and sister both had breast cancer. Now put that 0.3% next to everything she's risking by not taking the hormone replacement therapy. Bones quietly fracturing, cognitive decline accelerating, cardiovascular risk increasing unchecked, sleep destroyed, quality of life completely gone. So family history of breast cancer requires an individualized conversation with your doctor, with your full history, your full risk profile, and someone who actually knows this evidence. It is not an automatic no. For most women with family history, it never should have been. Priya finally listened to me and started transdermal bioidentical menopausal hormone replacement therapy, the estradiol gel, along with micronized progesterone. Within 6 weeks, sleep was restored. Within 8 weeks, the brain fog completely lifted. She told me she felt like herself again for the first time in 2 years. She came back for the 3-month review, sat down and said something I have never been able to forget. Doctor, मैंने ये 2 साल क्यों waste किए? Why did I waste 2 years? The answer is not that she was weak or uninformed or not trying hard enough. The answer is that the information she was given was outdated. The fear she carried was real, but it was aimed at a medicine that no longer exists in the form that caused that fear. Modern menopausal hormone therapy started at the right time, in the right woman, with the right formulation. It is one of the most evidence-supported interventions in women's medicine today. If you are in your 40s and you are suffering, please do not wait. See a gynecologist who knows this evidence. Ask the 3 questions I'm going to put on screen right now. And do not let a 2002 headline make a 2026 decision for you. Dangerous as suffering? Outdated header. If this video helped you, please share it with a woman in her 40s who needs to hear this. Subscribe for evidence-based women's health content every week. No fear, no sensationalism. Just the science, explained in the way I would explain it to the patient I respect. And if you are in Kolkata, come and see me at Renew Healthcare. Let's have this conversation properly, with your full history in front of us.